Hey everybody, it's Sean Bavala from morethanspeaking.com, and today I'm talking to anybody who has a business or a nonprofit organization that's at a pivot point, whether that's in the beginning of your organization or in the middle, wherever it is, that is at a turning point and needs to have something happen new in their business. I want to tell you that the next results from your pivot point and your turning point are going to come from the next story that you tell. So let me tell you a story. I was working in a nonprofit organization in a department that was very traditionally underfunded. It really was kind of it wasn't a throwaway position, but it really was designed to keep parents happy. And so I was working in this section and I didn't have the funding I needed to do what I needed. So I knew that I would have to go beg for funding from the people who controlled the purse strings. So I did two things to begin. The first thing that I did was to do my homework. Sometimes people will think because they're going to do storytelling that they don't need to do the homework of business. Yes, you do. Storytelling does not replace facts, but rather it carries facts and takes facts forward. So the first thing I did was to do my homework on the numbers. I knew my numbers really well. I knew who I was serving. I knew that my department was not as well funded as other departments that were serving even less people than I was. So we did that work. And the second thing I did was the stories. And so I went to the people, the families that were being served by our department, and I said, can you write down your stories for me? What's the beginning, the middle, and the end of your experiences, or your end being the current thing? What is the beginning, middle, and end of your experiences with our department? And so I gathered probably 5-7 of those types of stories from very different types of people. And then I put all this together and I made my presentation. I started by sharing the stories that had been shared with me and shared only with permission. Don't tell people stories without their permission. So I started to share probably 3 of those stories. Then I presented the facts and the figures. And then I ended by telling those stories, more stories that I had gathered as well. And so what I had was a set of stories and facts that would help me get what I needed, a turning point in my nonprofit organization. I was funded rapid fire, faster than I've ever seen funding happen in that particular organization. And when I asked the person who was responsible for the purse strings, I said, how did that happen so fast? And they said, well, you certainly made your case, didn't you? And so in that discussion of that is we were doing things that the people with the purse strings didn't even know we were doing in the organization, didn't recognize the extent of the funding and the work that we were doing for the people we were serving. So if you are at a turning point, a pivot point in your business, your organization, it is time to embrace new stories and to find those stories. If you need help finding those stories, talk to me. That's what I do. And we're going to tell you, find your stories so that we can make a difference in your organization. Okay, thanks for listening. I am Sean Bavala from morethanspeaking.com. And if there's any way that I can help you, please let me know. Okay, thanks. Woo, I got all the way through this without having a car accident. Bye.